see how good our communications are. We were just told that Mike Eddy is radioed in, and I'm ready to make my move. Let's see how he handles it. Lap 2:38, 12 to go. Half a car length separate the number 1 KC Motorsports Chevrolet from the number 88 Goodwrench Pontiac of Mike Eddy.
Sauter gets out of shape. Eddy gets into the back end. Sauter's going to hit the end of the barrier.
Number 4. Oh, what an unfortunate incident involving Mike Eddy and Jay Sauter. Sauter is out of this race. There is Eddy spinning around there on the inside of the corner number 4. Look who creeps right up behind him, John Benson. He is suddenly back in the hunt. What a tragic moment. In corner number 4, Jay Sauter, who has led this race all day long, gets bumped in the back by Mike Eddy, and both cars go sliding at the inside of corner number 4. Jay Sauter definitely getting the worst of that one.
And guess who's still in the lead? Car number 88, Mike Eddy, is able to continue after spinning. And with the 11-second bulge that those two had over Johnny Benson Jr., he was able to get the car turned around and to continue in this race. Jay hit the end of that barrier awfully hard, and I was concerned for his well-being. And he's been able to drive it back, as you can see, on pit road. And our folks are there on the spot, and look at Jay, obviously extremely dejected.
Sure to be a controversial moment. You saw the video of that race from Berlin, Michigan, a year ago when Jay got underneath Mike to win the race. Here is what happened this afternoon at Odesa, Kansas.
And Mike Eddy very obviously into the back end of the Jay Sauter automobile. Whether or not Mike ran in too hard or Jay had to back out of the throttle, I'm not sure. It did look like Eddy was getting in very strongly. And the two simply spin. Look, Jay's trying to gather that car in. He was trying to drive that car back into the racing group.
You know, the ironic thing is that tire is there to protect the drivers from serious injury and the cars from damage. I think that tire is what collected Jay Sauter. Had the tire not been there, making the end of that wall so wide, he might have gotten by. Let's go down and talk to Jay.
Well, he's walking around taking a look at the car. Jay, can you give me a description of what took place from your view?
I guess Mike was just getting a little impatient as usual. He boofed me coming off, and just the car was gone, and I couldn't hang on to it. It's a shame the KC Motorsports, Wynn Chevrolet, Ruggles, Buick V6 was running excellent. It's just a shame. I don't know why Mike has to drive like that, but we'll get him next time. Don't worry. I want to say Happy Easter to my mom.
You took a real hard hit. Are you all right?
Yeah, I'm going to be okay. I just feel so bad for the team. It's a shame it had to happen. We'll be back, and we'll get him next time.
Are we starting to see maybe a bit of a rivalry build between you two? You guys ran so hard when you claimed your first victory, and again, you guys run very hard here today. Is this possibly the battle of the season between you two?
Well, I don't know. Racing is a contact sport sometimes, and just got to come back next week and take what it needs to get the job done.
Well,
very diplomatically put.
Yeah, this also sets up something. Mike Eddy got into the back of John Benson Jr. earlier in this race. Don't know if Benson had an opportunity to see that incident, but he starts right behind Mike. We are up to lap 242 and counting. We will stop counting at lap 245. We'll have a race to the finish. Back at Odesa for the Great American Racing Series, the ACDelco Challenge Series. We will complete lap 245 this time, and by ASA rules, even though we are under yellow flag, the lap counter now freezes. You will have 5 laps of green flag to the conclusion of this race. Cleanup is continuing because of an incident involving Jay Sauter and Mike Eddy, who got together leading this race. Jay collided with the end of the pit wall and apparently has been knocked out of this race after leading all day long here at Odesa. There is Mike Eddy. He escaped that incident, although he did go into a spin. It allowed John Benson Jr., who was a real threat to win this race, he was more than a half a lap behind, to move up right on the back doorstep of John Benson Jr., of Mike Eddy. Now, let us show you the 2 incidents that have really painted the personality of this race. Mike Eddy trailing John Benson Jr. about 100 laps ago.
At this point, Jay Sauter is in the lead. Contact between car number 21 and the 88 machine. Watch Eddy slide by unscathed on the top of the racetrack, and now all Benson can do is hang on and hold his breath.
You never know what leads into situations like this, and it's very difficult to assess or place blame until you find out all of the factors. But the fact of the matter is that contact has been made up front on a couple of occasions in this race, and it has really affected the complexion of the outcome.
Wouldn't you love to sit inside that helmet for just a minute and feel the thoughts that are going through the head of the man in black? The Goodwrench Pontiac, he is now the leader with the 21 machine of Johnny Benson sitting right behind.
You know, people used to criticize Dale Earnhardt a lot more than they do now, and my feeling always was that if Dale had a weakness, it was that he was willing to take out as much as he was willing to dish out.
That's true.
But the problem was no one else either wanted to take or dish out as much. And I always felt that it wasn't so much that Dale was over-aggressive or super-aggressive. He just was willing to combat more and get involved in hand-to-hand combat more than everybody else.
And I think Mike Eddy's willing to take it, too. You don't ever hear him complain when he's on the short end of the stick, but as you said,